Namaskar and welcome to StudyIQ. I am your friend Rahul Sai. The agenda for today's discussion is connected with Indian foreign policy or Indian diplomacy. We are going to discuss about a new term that has emerged in Indian diplomatic discourse, that is Vishwa Mitra. Recently, the Indian External Affairs Minister has described India as Vishwa Mitra at the IORA forum meeting which is going on in Colombo. Perhaps it is for the first time that a dignitary of such note has used a new term, Vishwa Mitra, that means friend of the world, to describe India. In this video lecture, we will try to understand what is the significance of this term. We will also talk about IORA as a forum from exam perspective. To get to know all this information, stay with me till the very end. All right, let's begin. But before that, a notice to all the UPSC civil services aspirants. StudyIQ is bringing P2I batch 1 with different validities for you. Now you do understand StudyIQ's program is the most comprehensive program where you will get the whole package. It begins with 24,000, 23,999 to be precise. You will get complete preparation of prelims, complete preparation of mains, complete preparation of interview. There is one-to-one mentorship, group mentorship, the whole shebang in the same program. And you can choose a validity of your liking. Just visit our website studyiq.com. You'll get to know all the things. Enroll. I'll see you in the class. All right. Let's begin our discussion. As I told you, our interaction today is connected with a term called as Vishwa Mitra. Recently, the Indian External Affairs Minister S Jaishankar, he used this term to describe us. The description was at an address where he was addressing the Indian Ocean Rim Association Fora, the meeting of which is going on in Colombo, Sri Lanka, and Sri Lanka is currently the chair of IORA and India is the vice chair. Now, before we jump into understanding the significance of this term, let's try to talk about IORA. There can be multiple choice questions which can be created on this topic. Now, IORA, Indian Ocean Rim Association, it is a dynamic intergovernmental organization which is aimed at strengthening regional cooperation and regional development in the Indian Ocean region. Now, this is the logo of this. There are 23 countries in it and 11 dialogue partners involved in Indian Ocean Rim Association. Now, you do understand IOR, that is Indian Ocean region, it has become very important. I would say perhaps it is going to be the cynosure of global politics moving forward. We are talking about a topic of Indo-Pacific, where Indian Ocean region is at the center of that discourse. Everybody is interested in Indian Ocean region. Of course, everybody wants to set up their own hegemony. Now, India already has an advantage, the geographical advantage. It is already a strong contender here. But there are many other players who are coming up in Indian Ocean region. You do understand China is competing with India for hegemony in IOR region. There are many other players, USA, UK, even France are involved in the IOR region. So going forward, the Indian Ocean region and any development connected to it is going to be very important for us from exam perspective. As I told you, IORA, it is a forum of 23 members. Its earlier name was IORI, Indian Ocean Rim Initiative. Later on, it was rechristened to Indian Ocean Rim Association, ARC, the Association for Regional Cooperation. And finally, now we have a name called as IORA. And as I told you, it is a dynamic intergovernmental organization where the governments will come together. That means there is already a G2G connect. The government to government connect is already there. But apart from this, the IORA also works towards business to business connect and academia to academia connect among the member nations to bring peace, stability, and development in the Indian Ocean region. When did it begin? It started in 1997. In fact, in 1995, I would say the ground of IORA was laid. In 1997, through the Charter of Indian Ocean Rim Association, IORA began formally. It began only with 7 countries, the Magnificent Seven. And please remember, from MCQ perspective, India was not a member of this Magnificent Seven. Slowly and steadily, over a period of time, from 7, the members increased to 14. And today, there are 23 countries who are members of Indian Ocean Rim Association. The headquarters of IORA is in Mauritius. It is in Cyber City in Ebene. It's the headquarters. Now, apart from this, please understand it's a geographical entity or geographical forum. This is the Indian Ocean region. and the rim countries are its members. There are 23 members. No need to remember all of them. Of course, there is Bangladesh, there is India, there is Sri Lanka. Then you have Mauritius, you have Maldives, you have Seychelles, you have the African countries as well, the coastal African countries, some countries from Middle East and from the ASEAN side. But I would like to highlight two outliers which normally students miss out in their MCQs, right? Especially Australia and remember even France. These are members of Indian Ocean Rim Association. Now these two are rather outliers. Apart from that, of course, South Africa is there, Kenya is there, the other countries are there, but France is a member and Australia is also a member of IORA. And as I told you, what does it do? It tries to bring sustainable development in the region. It tries to focus on economic cooperation, of course, but it also aims to bring free trade in the Indian Ocean region. There are 6 main areas on which IORA focuses. It focuses on maritime security, it focuses on trade and investment, fisheries, disaster risk reduction, academia connect, and it also wants to improve tourism in the Indian Ocean region. So this is the information about IORA. If any MCQ appears, I hope that you will be able to solve it. Now let's get back to news. As I told you, in the IORA forum, 23rd meeting is going on in Sri Lanka, where Indian External Affairs has used a new term, Vishwa Mitra, that is world's friend. He said India is Vishwa Mitra, and he also said India is a voice of Global South. Apart from that, of course, he also used the term Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam because we believe in this principle. Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam means the whole world is one family. He said that it is a message of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam which we believe in and which we are trying to progress through the IORA as well, and through Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam we can go for welfare of the IORA members as well. But this term was highlighted specifically. He said that many of us here are members of Global South, and the focus that India has been able to bring through the G20 meeting, which concluded recently. India had the presidency of G20. Everybody is welcome here, and India is a friend of all. Now, what is the meaning of this? See, as I told you, this term has appeared rather for the first time, Vishwa Mitra, friend of the world. Now, before this, the discourse or the debate discussion was mostly towards Vishwa Guru. You must have seen the term Vishwa Guru, that India is going to become Vishwa Guru. Of course, on social media, you must have seen on Twitter, or right now it has become X, or social media, other social media platforms, that India is going to retain, or India is going to claim the seat of Vishwa Guru, or India is going to become Vishwa Guru for all. Guru means a master. You do understand, master, one who shows the path, right? And it is not just on social media by citizens, by people, that Vishwa Guru term is used. In fact, even in official communications, or I would say even it has been used by many other high dignitaries. For instance, many officials like R.N. Ravi has said that India will be Vishwa Guru by 2047. There are many sages who have highlighted this. In media also the term has been used, Vishwa Guru, and that is what we are highlighting here. That earlier the term Vishwa Guru was used, but now External Affairs Minister has used Vishwa Mitra. And let me tell you, when I say the government officials, media, etc. using it, even in the official documents, the term Vishwa Guru has been highlighted. Let me just show you this idea. This is one of the documents, Seva Samarpan 20 Years of Good Governance, where I hope you can see that Indian foreign policy, it clearly mentions Vishwa Guru here. You can see it clearly mentions Vishwa Guru here. And through this Vishwa Guru, there are so many other things which are highlighted. This is a document from 2021, how India contributed, Indian Prime Minister's recognition at the global level. Many countries have bestowed upon him the highest order of their states. Apart from that, India has been recognized, and India has been playing a bigger role at the global level. Prime Minister Modi presided over the UN Security Council. He visited Israel. Apart from that, we believe in the concept of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, right? We believe in the whole world is one family. We have helped other countries with respect to vaccines. Indian yoga has found out an international recognition. June 21 is celebrated as International Yoga Day. Apart from that, At United Nations, we have played a big role since last 70-75 years. We are one of the highest contributors towards the peacekeeping of operations. Apart from that, we have also went for Vishwa Seva. So all these has been highlighted even by the government documents. All right. So this becomes very important. Why I'm highlighting it is because everybody was focused on the term Vishwa Guru, and which might be conceived in a wrong notion, especially by other countries, with respect to the term Guru. Guru means, is it some sort of hierarchy? Of course, when I say, or when we say Vishwa Guru, it means some sort of moral leadership, ethical leadership, principled leadership at the global level. And leadership of the South is already, I would say, more or less with India. Yes. But now the term has turned to Vishwa Mitra, more or less. And what we can say, or what we can suggest here, is that going forward in Indian foreign policy discourse, in Indian diplomatic circles, we will be looking at this term more and more, Vishwa Mitra, and the voice of global South. Is it an appropriate term? Let's try to analyze. Of course it is. Now, when you look at India, Vishwa Mitra means friend of the world. If you look at India's relations at the global level, Indian foreign policy has been quite successful. Since last 70-75 years, we have been able to balance the fault lines at the global level. If you talk about the era of the Cold War, we balanced between the US bloc and USSR bloc pretty efficiently. Yes, we were a little swayed towards USSR, but we remained non-aligned. Now, everybody thinks non-alignment that means we are not aligning towards anybody. But what we can say in the 21st century discussion, non-alignment means pragmatic multi-alignment with all. That means we have good relations with almost everybody. We have good relations with the P5 countries, barring China a little bit. We'll have a discussion on that. But if you look at any other area, for instance, if you look at the West Asian region, India has had a very successful foreign policy. There are multiple fault lines there. There is a fault line between the Shias and Sunnis. There is a fault line between Jews and Arabs. And India has been able to maintain its national interest, has been able to achieve its national interest very effectively. Yes, we have given principled support to Palestine. But since the dehyphenation of Palestine and Israel in Indian foreign policy domain, we can say that there is principled support to Palestine, but a pragmatic support now towards Israel, which we have seen recently during the Israel-Gaza conflict, which is still going on. India has outrightly supported Israel. So in the West Asian region, we have had good relations with UAE, we have good relations with Saudi, all the other Arab nations as well. If you look at, say, East Asia, the East Asian policy has been quite successful. Earlier it was Look East policy, now it is Act East policy, and the area is very successful. We have kept ASEAN at the center, and now we are extending beyond, far east of Russia. We have extended to Japan, South Korea, Australia, New Zealand. A very successful domain of Indian foreign policy. Some improvements especially can come with respect to the Latin American region. Of course, there is a big gap of distance. Of course, it is there. But even in the Latin American region and the Caribbean region, we have good relations, especially with Brazil and many other important players. There is one area of improvement where you might question this idea of Vishwa Mitra, I would say, especially in the neighborhood itself, because many scholars, many foreign policy analysts, they do highlight that if India is supposed to become the Vishwa Guru, then first of all, you have to set your own backyard in order. And in the last decade or last 2 decades or so, we are having a decent enough neighborhood policy as well. I would say, barring Pakistan and China, the two irritants in the neighborhood, we have had decent relations with all the other neighbors. Now, with respect to Pakistan, we have a tumultuous history, and because of which the relations have not improved. But with China, I wouldn't call China enemy per se, right? Because if you dissect India-China relations, you will understand that we have a very pragmatic relation. In fact, we have a economically pragmatic relation. Yes, we have border issues with Pakistan, but relations are not improving at all. We have a border dispute with China as well. But on the same side, we also have enhancing trade with China. India-China trade has crossed bilateral trade has crossed more than $100 billion. Of course, the trade deficit is also increasing more and more. But what we can say is there is a policy of engagement also, and there is a policy of containment also with China. But yes, to a large extent, we can say that India is a Vishwa Mitra, because with majority of the countries at the global level, we have very good relations. We have friendly relations. That's why we are the friend of the world. And being a friend of the world, we also become the voice of the weak, or the voice of the global south, isn't it? We have been a voice of global south through the leadership of non-aligned movement, yes. But if you look at North versus South debate, this has emerged from the Brandt report, and the Brandt line is between the developed countries and the less developed countries, towards the south. And India has been a leader of the global south at, say, climate negotiations, at the WTO negotiations. Yes, it has played a leadership role. And in the last decade or so, India and Indian leadership has been quite effectively highlighting the issues, highlighting the global issues. We are one of the pioneer nations when it comes to contribution towards climate change. We are one of the important nations which highlights global issues like global terrorism. And for this reason, not just India, but other countries and other leaders have also highlighted. For instance, recently Indian Prime Minister had visited Papua New Guinea. There, the leader of Papua New Guinea, Mr. Marape, highlighted that India, or I would say Indian Prime Minister, is the leader of global south, not said by India, but other countries. Again, India suggests that we are a Vishwa Mitra now. Yes, we are a Vishwa Mitra, right? And we believe in the concept of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, and that way, by having friendly relations with other, we can act as a bridge. This has been highlighted by Prime Minister Modi as well, that India is a bridge between the global south and the Western developed world. All right. So, is the term Vishwa Mitra appropriate? I would say yes. And what we can conclude from this particular discussion is that going forward, we are looking at the use of term Vishwa Mitra more and more. That means probably we might see a little less of Vishwa Guru and more of this Vishwa Mitra, friend of the world, because it is in line with the concepts of the global south leadership, and also the idea of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, which we fundamentally believe in. All right. So that's the basic conclusion of this interaction. Whenever there is an update on this, we'll have a discussion again on StudyIQ. But I hope this interaction was interesting for all of you. And if you have liked this, you can always follow me on a social media handle @Rahul Sai 222. Thank you for watching this video. Jai Hind.